Hey, so this is going to be about adding fractions, and I'm going to show you why we have to do some certain things to adding fractions before we can add them. One basic example is that we have 1/4 plus 1/4 or 1/4. Sometimes you will see this as a basic one. And initially, the tricky thing here is that a lot of people just kind of add the numbers, the top ones, the numerators, and the denominators, and get 2, 6. But in reality, this is not the right answer. The reason being is that if you have a pie that looks like this, that's divided into half, and then have another pizza dividing, or a pie dividing into 1/4, if you were to take this quarter and then add it here, you can see that it is not 2, 6 because the piece sizes are actually different. So you can't just add them together like how you would just add the numbers together. So one thing you need to do and need to have or must do is to have common denominators. That means when you hear the word common denominators, let's see if I can get this spelling, is that this, let me change the color, this denominator and this denominator has to be the same. So I'm just going to start over so it's a little bit clear. 1/2 plus 1/4. These denominators are not the same. There are a couple of ways to find a common denominator. One is to just simply multiply these numbers together. So if I were to multiply these together, 2 times 4, let me change color, 2 times 4 is 8, and then 4 times 2 is 8 as well. Oh. Okay, so what did I add, multiply by the 4 or multiply by 2? Well, the trick here is multiplied by the opposite denominator will get you the same fraction because 2 times the other one, 4, will get you 8. 4 times the other one is 2. So this is a guarantee way. We're not done yet. One thing you have to also remember is that once you change the bottom here, multiplied by 4, you have to do the same up here. So 1 times 4 is 4, and 4 times 2, so you have to multiply the top by 2, is 2. Okay? So you notice that 4/8 is basically broken down into 1/2. And 2/8, if you punch it in calculator, is exactly the same as 1/4. So now we have the common denominators, we can add these, so the answer is 6/8. And we can further reduce this by finding a number that both of these numbers can be divided by. So if I were to divide this by 2, 2 is always a good number to start off because it's one of the easiest, smallest ones, most common ones. So this is going to be 3/4, and this was exactly what our last picture was, 3/4. What's another way to change or find the lowest common denominator? If we have, say, 3/4 plus 4/6, is there a number that both of these can go into? The multiples. So if we think about multiples of 4, 4, 8, 12, 16. What about 6? 6, 12, 18, and so on. So you can see that this 12 and this 12 matches up. So that's your common denominator, a same number that both of these can go into. So 12, those are my common denominators. Well, how did I get 4 to 12? I multiplied by 3. So because I did that, I got to do the same to this. So this is going to be multiplied by 3, which gives you 9. And how did I get the 6 into 12? I multiplied by 2. So I got to do the same to the top. So 4 times 2 is 8. So that is 17/12. You don't touch anything to the denominator, you just stay the same. And this is your improper fraction. So I'm going to change this to 5/12, because if I divide 17 by 12, I know I have 1 left over, and 17 minus 12 is 5, so it's 5/12. So that's how you want to add your fractions. One key thing is common denominators. Without it, you cannot add any fractions. We can also do this. Subtracting is exactly the same thing. So if we have a subtraction question like 6, I don't know, 1/6 minus 5/6, 12. So you notice that I don't have common denominators. I must find common denominators. I'm just going to rewrite my fraction. I can either multiply these by together to get a guaranteed common denominator. I can find multiples. So since these numbers are pretty big, I know there's a multiple. So these are my multiples of 6. 6, 12, 18. And 12 is 12, 24, 36, and so on. And I can tell that 12 and 12, this is my common denominator. So how did I get the 6 into 12? I multiply by 2. Since I multiply by 2 in the denominator, I got to do 2 to the top. So 1 times 2 is 2. So this goes there. What about, how did I get 12 to 12? Well, I didn't have to do anything. So that essentially is just multiplying by 1. So I got to do the same to the top. 5 times 1 is 5. Not 1, 5. So now since I have these common denominators already and the numerators all changed, I just have to combine these fractions. So going back from my integer lessons, in subtracting fraction, you're just looking at the top numbers. You never touch anything of the bottom number if you're add or subtracting. So the denominator stays the same. The top is 2 minus 5. So basically this is the question, 2, negative 5. So that from practice is negative 3. That's your answer for subtraction. So adding, subtraction, fraction, key thing is common denominator. Don't touch the denominator once you have your common denominator, and that's about it. So see you at the next video.